Listen closely. Certain dates don't just pass by the calendar, they vibrate through your spirit. September 1st, 2 and 3 are not ordinary days. They mark a window where your path can sharpen or scatter, where your inner state will decide the shape of your outer destiny. Most people rush through these days without noticing, but those who are awake, those who train their awareness, will see the subtle currents moving beneath the surface. Before any turning point, the real change begins inside. In Shaolin training, I was taught that mastery is not about controlling the world. It is about mastering where your attention rests. You feel your breath, your steps, your thoughts, you guide them instead of being dragged by them. Discipline, in its purest form, is not chains, it is clarity. From this clarity, your choices cut deeper and your life gains direction. In this video, you will learn why these 3 days carry such weight and how ancient Shaolin wisdom can prepare you to meet them. I will share lesser-known lessons from the monastery walls, how silence is a weapon, how small rituals open hidden doors, how even your body can teach you truths your mind resists. These are not stories of the past, they are living instructions for the days ahead. Stay with me until the end, because the final teaching will reveal how these dates can reset your path if you act with awareness. It is knowledge many overlook, but the chosen ones cannot afford to miss. Welcome to Shaolin Soulfire, where discipline meets spirit and wisdom meets action. If you seek clarity and strength in your journey, subscribe now and walk this path with us. When the world outside is loud, the first thing to shatter is the mind that has never been trained. This is why discipline is sacred in Shaolin. Many think of it as harsh rules, as chains that limit freedom. But in truth, discipline is the foundation that keeps you steady when life shakes you. Without it, even a small storm can carry you away. With it, even the strongest winds cannot move your center. In the monastery, our days were carved by rhythm, rising before dawn, repeating the same forms, breathing in unison. It was not punishment. It was training the heart to remain calm under weight. When you repeat a form until your muscles ache, you learn that pressure does not have to break you. It can sharpen you, like fire tempers steel. That is what discipline truly means. Not to restrict, but to strengthen. The smallest rituals hold this power. Breathing deeply 3 times before you speak. Sitting in silence before you act. Committing to one movement, one thought with your whole presence. These acts seem small, but they train the mind to hold steady when emotions rise. Discipline becomes the anchor, and with it comes self-control. Think of a river. Without banks, it floods and destroys. With firm banks, the same water nourishes fields and carries boats safely forward. Your energy works the same way. Discipline gives it shape. It channels your strength, your emotions, your focus, so they do not scatter. When storms come, and they will, you will see the difference. The undisciplined mind reacts, lashes out, collapses. The disciplined mind breathes, observes, and stands firm. In that steadiness, there is freedom. A life out of balance feels heavy, though nothing visible may be wrong. You wake with restlessness, or carry tension in the body without knowing why. Shaolin masters teach that this unease is a signal, not an enemy. The work is not to crush it or ignore it, but to observe carefully where the imbalance begins. In the monastery, balance was never about perfection. It was about adjustment. When a stance leaned too far, a master would gently place a hand on the shoulder, reminding the body to return to center. That same principle applies beyond training. If your days tilt only toward work and neglect stillness, or toward silence without meaningful action, the imbalance will show. The correction is not violence against yourself. It is a subtle shift, like guiding water back into its channel. Inner peace grows in this way, not by forcing yourself into rigid control, but by noticing what is misaligned and making small corrections again and again. Awareness is the first tool, breath can be the second. By pausing and breathing deeply, the hidden knots of imbalance begin to reveal themselves. With awareness, you can act. With discipline, you can sustain the change. Think of harmony in music. One string out of tune makes the whole sound uneasy. To restore balance, you do not break the instrument. You listen, tighten, loosen, until the tone blends again. Life responds the same way. Through this practice, discipline becomes gentle rather than harsh. It is not a whip but a steady hand. Awareness grows sharper, adjustments grow easier, and peace becomes less of a dream and more of a lived reality. This is the quiet art of returning to center. The first lesson of form training is not speed or power, it is presence. Every stance, every strike, every breath carries weight only when the mind enters fully into the body. This is why Shaolin places such importance on martial forms and Qigong. To the outside eye, they may appear like performance, but within the practice lies something deeper. They are not a display, but a discipline. When a form is repeated thousands of times, the body begins to memorize rhythm. Shoulders soften, breath steadies, the restless mind learns to follow the cadence of movement. What begins as exercise becomes meditation. Energy that once scattered outward gathers inward. The practitioner no longer moves for the sake of moving. Each gesture becomes a doorway into stillness. Qigong, in particular, shows this truth. The movements are simple, almost quiet, yet the discipline lies in sustaining awareness through them. Breath flows with intention, the spine aligns, the senses awaken. In this union of body and breath, thought loses its frantic grip, the mind quiets, and something deeper steps forward. The ancients understood that the body is not separate from spirit. To discipline the body is to prepare the soil for clarity of mind, and when the mind grows calm, insight naturally rises. What felt confusing finds direction, what felt heavy finds lightness. Think of a tree rooted deep in the earth. Its branches reach the sky, but only because its base is strong. Shaolin forms and Qigong root the human spirit in this way. From strong roots comes calm mind. From calm mind comes the vision that touches the unseen. This is how physical practice becomes a bridge to spiritual awakening. There is a danger in experience. The more you repeat something, the more your mind whispers, "I already know this." That whisper hardens into habit, and habit dulls the spirit. Zen offers a remedy, the beginner's mind, a way of seeing each practice, each moment, as if it were the first time, fresh, open, curious. In the monastery, students would sweep the same courtyard every morning. Some saw it as a chore, their movements heavy, impatient, others swept with beginner's mind. For them, each fallen leaf was different, each stroke of the broom a chance to meet the present moment anew. The work did not change, but their spirit did. The practice became alive, not mechanical. Discipline without openness becomes rigid, like a tree that snaps in the storm. But discipline with beginner's mind bends, adapts, learns. Even after decades of training, the true practitioner bows to the form as if meeting it for the first time. In that humility, something vast is revealed. Beginner's mind is not about ignorance. It is about refusing to let certainty blind you. It is about standing before each breath, each step, each word spoken, with the same wonder a child carries. That wonder keeps the spiritual senses awake. It prevents the heart from becoming stone. Think of water flowing over rock. Day after day, the same motion, the same sound. Yet the water is never the same. Each moment carries new ripples, new reflections. To notice this is to practice beginner's mind. In this way, repetition becomes revelation. What looks ordinary to others becomes extraordinary to you. And your path, instead of narrowing with time, widens into endless possibility. A leaf falls from the tree, carried by the wind. In that simple moment, the whole truth of impermanence is revealed. Nothing stays as it is. Breath rises and falls. Seasons turn. Joy arrives, then passes. Pain comes, then softens. To see this clearly is not sorrowful, it is liberating. Mindfulness teaches that when we cling, we suffer. We try to hold on to what is fading or push away what is already dissolving. But when awareness meets impermanence, the grip loosens. You begin to see that change is not an enemy. It is the rhythm of life itself. The ancients trained in this contemplation. They watched the flame of a candle, knowing it would not last. They listened to the echo of a bell, fading into silence. Each practice reminded them, all things arise, all things fade. Instead of despair, they discovered clarity. Anxiety weakens when you no longer demand permanence from a world that is always moving. In daily life, this truth becomes a refuge. A sharp word spoken to you does not have to linger, it will pass. A moment of loneliness does not define your path. It too will pass. The discipline lies in remembering this again and again until the mind begins to rest naturally in the present. Consider the river. You step into it today, and tomorrow it is not the same water. Yet the river continues. Life flows like this, ever changing, never fixed. To see impermanence is to root yourself in what is real, not in illusions of forever. And in that clarity, you find peace, even in the midst of uncertainty. A single thread may seem small, but when woven with countless others, it forms a tapestry. Zen calls this truth interbeing, the understanding that nothing exists in isolation. Every breath you take depends on trees, oceans, clouds. Every word you speak shapes the minds of those who hear it. Even your silence carries weight, influencing the spaces around you. When people speak of prophetic days, they often imagine destiny as a private event, something meant only for them. But the deeper teaching is this: your awakening is never just your own. The way you meet such a moment ripples outward. If you meet it with fear, you spread fear. If you meet it with calm, you spread calm. This is the hidden responsibility of awareness. In the monastery, students would eat together in silence. Each person's movements, lifting the bowl, setting it down, affected the rhythm of the whole hall. If one moved carelessly, the stillness broke. If each moved mindfully, the silence deepened, and everyone felt nourished not only by food, but by presence. This is interbeing in action, the smallest gesture echoing far beyond itself. To live with this awareness is an act of discipline. It requires you to look beyond your personal desires and see yourself as part of a living web. Discipline then becomes not just self-mastery, but care for the whole. Your clarity becomes a gift, your patience a shelter, your courage a light for others. So when the calendar carries weight, remember, it is not the date alone that holds power. It is how you stand within it, and how your stance shapes the unseen threads connecting you to all beings. In interbeing, every choice becomes part of the greater harmony. There are forces in life that will never bend to your will. The rising of the sun, the passing of years, the choices of others, these lie beyond your reach. To fight them is to waste your strength. Shaolin wisdom teaches another way. Live the life that is here fully, with awareness. Release the weight of what cannot be changed, and use your energy where it truly matters. In training, a young student once grew frustrated with the weather. Rain fell for days, making practice grounds slippery and harsh. His spirit sagged under the gray sky. A master watched, then spoke softly, "You cannot move the clouds, but you can move your feet." The lesson was simple: accept the rain and practice anyway. What looked like limitation became training for balance, endurance, patience. This is not resignation, it is clarity. When you see clearly what lies beyond your control, you stop scattering your energy. You return to the ground under your feet, to the breath in your lungs, to the task within your reach. That focus gives birth to true power. Awareness sharpens the difference between struggle and action. Struggle clings to what cannot be changed. Action flows toward what can. When you choose action, discipline takes form not as punishment, but as presence. Each choice you make begins to carve a path forward. Think of a lantern in the night. It does not chase away all darkness, yet within its circle of light, you can walk with certainty. So too with awareness, it may not solve every mystery of life, but it illuminates the steps you can take. And with those steps, even in uncertainty, you move with strength. The mind craves stability, yet the world constantly pulls it into noise. Urgent news, sudden distractions, waves of excitement or fear. To anchor yourself in such a sea, you cannot rely on adrenaline. You need rituals, steady practices that hold you when the storm outside grows loud. In Shaolin training, the day began not with chaos but with rhythm. Rising before dawn, bowing, breathing, moving through forms. Each act was a ritual. These were not empty habits, they were foundations. By repeating them daily, the body learned discipline, the breath found rhythm, and the mind discovered calm. The ritual itself became a refuge. Meditation works the same way. Sitting in silence, focusing on the breath, you step out of the cycle of reaction. Structured routines, whether a morning practice or an evening reflection, remind you of your center. They are like knots in a rope. You can hold them when life tries to pull you away. Qigong shows this most clearly. Simple postures, gentle breathing, repeated with awareness. Nothing dramatic, no spectacle, yet the effect runs deep. The nervous system steadies, the heart slows, the mind clears. By leaning into these rituals, you ground yourself not in fleeting emotion, but in presence. Without ritual, the mind chases every call of the world. Fear today, excitement tomorrow, confusion the day after. With ritual, you return to a rhythm stronger than noise. The discipline of ritual is not about rigid control. It is about creating a sanctuary inside yourself. Think of the drumbeat in a procession. No matter how many people walk, it is the steady beat that keeps them in step. Your rituals are that drumbeat. They guide you, steady you, and carry you through the noise into clarity. When a date carries the weight of prophecy, many rush to the surface. They seek signs in the sky, whispers in the air, drama in every shift. The mind fills with urgency, the heart beats with restless fire. But Shaolin wisdom turns the gaze inward. The true test is not outside, it is within. How do you hold yourself when the air grows charged? In the monastery, days of great significance were met with the same posture as ordinary days: steady breath, steady form, steady mind. The monks did not chase visions or fear omens. They used the heightened energy to sharpen their practice. If the mind was restless, they breathed deeper. If emotions surged, they rooted their stance lower, grounded their body, and listened more closely to silence. The external moment became fuel, not distraction. This is the art of refinement. You take the raw fire of circumstance and channel it into your discipline. Prophetic urgency tempts you to scatter, but discipline teaches you to gather. Instead of asking, "What does this date bring to me?" the deeper question is, "What strength can I bring into this date?" It is like the swordsmith at the forge. The fire burns hot, metal softens, sparks fly, but the craftsman does not fear the flame. He uses it, striking with precision, shaping the steel with each blow. In the same way, prophetic days are your forge. The energy is intense, but it is your steady practice that shapes what emerges. Let the world stir with signs and symbols if it must. Your task is simpler. Breathe, center, listen. Let the moment refine you. Then, when the fire passes, you remain tempered, clear, and unshaken. The true power of these days does not lie in the calendar, but in how you meet them. September 1st, the 3rd of May feel charged with meaning, yet the deeper call is the same one that echoes through every path of self-mastery. Turn inward, steady your breath, align your life with awareness. Use discipline not as a burden, but as an anchor. Let balance, presence, and clarity shape your steps. If you carry this into your daily life, into how you wake, how you move, how you speak, you will discover that prophecy is not about prediction. It is about transformation. Each moment can be a doorway if you are awake enough to walk through it. So take these teachings with you. Practice them in silence, in movement, in the smallest rituals of your day. Let them remind you that real strength is calm, and real mastery is awareness lived. Thank you for walking this path with us. If these words have spoken to your spirit, share your support by liking this video and subscribing to our channel, Shaolin Soulfire. Together we continue the journey of discipline, clarity, and awakening. Peace be with you.